I think we should have a team meeting. And you said why? And I said, we need to discuss, or, you know, so that we're all on the same page for the tournament. I'll use the Johnson City tournament just as an example. Just so that we're all on the same page for the Johnson City tournament on what needs to be done so that we can all figure out what we want to do to take care of the girls. And you would say, okay, let's have a team meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we will have on the next practice.
Okay. So what would be different in that versus me sending you a text saying, hey, there's a lot of different things being said. Can we have a team meeting? Or I think we should have a team meeting. What's the difference in those two?
The difference is I know what's going on. And I don't think we have to have a team meeting right now because I don't think there's a need for it. That's the difference. Because you got to remember, ultimately, if you came up to me and asked me if we needed to have a team meeting about this, that, and the other, it's up to me whether I say yes or no.
Oh, so it's an approval. So it still goes through the approval process.
Correct, because I am the coach and I make all the decisions.
Right, and I'm not saying that you were going to call a meeting over one person's concerns. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No.
And that I wouldn't expect that. It's just when there's like several of us in the stands that are thinking we need to get together and talk about this, then like I would think that you would trust me enough that when I come to you and say, hey, can we talk about this?
A team meeting until tonight.
Oh, okay.
We were getting ready to have a team meeting. It was just getting it scheduled was the problem.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
I said okay. Sure.
Sorry, my phone beeped.
Yeah, no problem. I said okay. I heard you.
So, I mean, I spend hours and hours of every day dealing with softball. Dealing with it. Our messes, their messes, everybody's messes. Okay? Just because somebody says, I think we have issues, doesn't mean we have issues. And doesn't mean I'm not aware of things.
Well, and I'm going back as far as SWAT last year when, you know, you would text me about stuff and I would say, Eddie, we all need to sit down and talk. You need to bring this up with everybody. Let's sit down and talk. That's the kind of cycle and trend that I've seen that concerns me. And also the fact of, and I've seen this happen several times in firsthand, that when somebody does bring up a specific concern, it's taken very personally, and then that person is somewhat sabotaged, and you don't speak to them again. Can I give you an example?
Yes. So I can correct it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I can go back to SWAT when they gave you heads up that they were leaving, and then you completely pulled them off their positions and put them at the bottom of the lineup. That's one example. You've not spoken to me since we had a texting conversation about the books, and I wasn't mad about the books. I was saying, you know, I always keep, like, just RBIs, for example. I was just asking because we always keep track of the runs scored, but not RBIs. And so what's the rationale on that? That wasn't me being a smart ass.
I wasn't angry. You got to understand my point in that.
Right, and I wasn't angry, but I wasn't.
Everything is a point. And that's why I say it again, the whole text thing is taken out of context.
But I can't help how you take it. And so what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I didn't take it negatively. I was stating my case as to, no, it's hard for me to do because it isn't always that way. I'd have to go back and search through the book to figure out who hit.
Right, and I said, and I've got it all there for you. It's all there.
Only on most games.
No, the RBIs are there. I don't count them all up at the end because I've asked you before. What all do you want? And
I don't need that.
Right, and I was just asking, what's the rationale in this, just so that I understand it.
Because you can have the bases loaded, and Cadence can come up and hit 1-2 inches outside of the arc. The first baseman picks it up, checks in the outfield, and the bases are cleared. Doesn't mean Cadence hit a grand slam. That's the reason why. It doesn't make a difference as to who hits where in the lineup.
Okay.
I mean, she theoretically, yes, all the runs scored, but that doesn't mean she hit a ball that is.
But now, Eddie, then okay, so then I'm going to ask a question. I'm not trying to be a smartass, and I'm not trying to be stupid, and I'm not trying to ask a stupid question.
No, I'm not. So, that way.
So if we hit a ball, because my child, I'll be honest with you, Landry thinks that it'd be really cool to hit a ball that the first person misses, and then she overthrows first base, and then the second baseman misses it, and then she gets all the way around and she scores and gets a home run. So we keep track of home runs the same way as if there's 5 different errors committed on the field.
Correct.
So why would the RBIs not be any different?
It's not a statistic that is beneficial to making out a lineup, which is what you were talking about. There's no difference. That does not determine that. Okay, that would be the answer. Not I'd have to go back and count it all up. When my only point was they're already there for you, so you don't have to do any extra work, Eddie. It's there for you if it's information that you want to use. I was going through the book and they weren't all there. Is all I'm saying. In past books they weren't either.
Yes, they.
And then I saw that half the book had it, half the book didn't, and I'm not complaining at all.
No, I know you're not complaining. I know you're not complaining.
I don't complain about how you did the book at all. I wish you were still doing the book because I love the way you do the book.
I'm not saying that you're complaining. That's what I'm trying to say is I'm just saying they're all there. They're not counted up and tallied, but they're in every single box. I always mark it. And so that's what I was saying is if it is information that you find valuable, don't think that it's extra work. It's already there for you if you need it. That's all I was saying. It wasn't that I was just, if the rationale is that that's not a useful statistic for me, then just tell me it's not a useful statistic for me. Not, I have to go back and count it up, because then I'm just going to say, well, I've already counted it up for you. They're all marked on there. They're not added up at the end of the column.
And I said, I saw that, because in the past books they weren't.
They're not added up at the end of the column, but they're there in the boxes, in each individual box.
Okay. But then again, I said, okay, I see them. And then you asked, well, and it's the way I take it. And
right.
Then we get back what texts are. You said, well, I just assumed that would be a useful tool to determine lineups. Well, then I feel like you're overstepping your bounds.
And I'm not. I'm asking so that I'll learn.
I get that. I get it. But I'm telling you that's where it feels.
Right. And so
that's where text messages suck, just like you've told me in the past.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying is you've not spoken to me since then.
I haven't spoken to several people.
Well, but I also know how you operate.
No, you don't, Haley.
Well,
I mean, you assume you know.
Okay.
You can come to me and talk to me, and I talk to you. I'm a very approachable person.
And sure, I'm sure you would talk to me if I came to you. I'm saying that I know I've watched you, and you've shared a lot with me in the past. Not so much now, which is fine because I don't need to know all the details. In the past, you shared a lot with me, and I would say to you, Eddie, don't take that personal. Eddie, don't be like that. Eddie, don't take it personally. And that's not a knock on you. That's me saying you're stressing over something that's not worth stressing over. There's bigger fish to fry.
We get back to, you all don't understand. You've known SWAT, of what SWAT is. It's this little 2-lane road. You all have no idea of what I deal with right now in comparison to what SWAT was. No idea. No concept.
And that's also why I said you've got parents there that are willing and capable and dedicated.
And they do.
Give them their job and let them do their job.
They do.
Let them do their job. For example, Brandy Bell's an excellent costume coordinator, and that was all done and taken care of, and no extra work for anybody. All done.
And again, we get back to, it was all done. Nobody asked me.
She asked you. And,
no, she didn't.
Yeah.
Eddie, and you also approved the post.
I approved the post because I couldn't see what the post was when I hit the button. And I told him that. I'm outside walking in the bright sun.
Okay, but then
I approved the post on accident.
Okay, and then, that's fine, because I don't know what the posts look like when they come across for approval. But then
it's a snapshot of it.
Okay, but then it was that the older heat, or that the other heat, were all had costumes and we were supposed to coordinate. But everybody has friends on other teams, and none of that is
Because
true.
none of them know what the other coach. How are they not true? I just went and picked up the shirts.
I know the shirts, but the shirts weren't even.
At that point,
They weren't even.
Correct. At that point.
Hey, remember when I told you? Remember when I told you I had friends that played for the other Heats?
Dan, I don't care.
And other
if
coaches.
you know
No.
Kelly McDaniel.
And other
It doesn't
coaches.
matter.
It does matter. It does matter. What you're telling us is that was already done at that point in time, and that's not true.
And it
Can
wasn't.
I talk, Dan?
Huh?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I got cut off by both there.
Go
What
ahead.
happened was, all I said was, we don't know what the others are doing. I don't want to go and commit to doing something, and then everybody wants to coordinate. Because I had talked to Kelly a while back about it when she found out that we're going to be in the tournament. Then Miss Michelle had already had the shirts done.
No, she didn't.
And she sent them to me the day after.
No, she didn't.
All right. Goodbye.
Okay.
Done.
All right.
I don't know why we
Eddie,
go round
I'm
on this.
just saying that the.
Haley, I understand.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. We're done. I appreciate your time, and we appreciate everything you've done, Eddie.
And I honestly, I appreciate you all too, whether you believe me or not. I
Oh,
do.
I mean, if
It's just things just got to this point.
I understand.
So, and I apologize it got to this point. I take my part in it. I hope you all understand your part too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know exactly the relationships that I've built on this team.
Okay. And then we'll just go from there.
Yep, we'll see you around.
All right.